Welcome to Bouqui'S Place. You know what we do here. We don't talk about the glitz. We don't talk about the glam. We talk about the grit and the grind. And we bring your favorite people to share their stories so that they can practically equip you on how to do destiny. And in the house today, I have the one and only, the phenomenal Frank Edwards. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. How are you, my darling?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you're always on a project or the other.
Thank God. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. We've been rocking since the 60s, man. I've watched your journey and I love it. And, I want you to share with the people, so that they can hear. A lot of people expect that life is like that. Success is like that. They don't see, because nobody really shares, the painful part. Nobody shares the tears. Nobody shares the grind. They just share the awards. And people want to be that, especially this generation. They want shortcut. They just want to do it real quick. They don't understand that you got to go through the process. So this is what we do in Bouqui'S Place, So welcome to Bouqui'S Place. We talk about, let me tell you guys a joke. When I sent Frank a text, I said, Frank, it's about ordinary people in their ordinary lives doing extraordinary things. Frank said, are you sure you want me? Because I am extraordinary. I said, woo! Okay, so today it's about extraordinary people in their extraordinary life doing extraordinary things. Absolutely. So listen, Frank, you're going to share your story with us from the very beginning, where you were born, how you transitioned into music, the tears, the grind, and what really made you. So when I shut up now, it's all over to you. This is your show. I'm going to just sit back, grab popcorn, and watch you. You're just going to tell us your story and bless us. Welcome to Bouqui'S Place.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I mean, I've watched you for so many years, even without you knowing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Several years ago, I mean, I'm one of those people who started music from analog studio, analog recordings from one studio to other. And the first time I saw you was, I think, is Real Mix Studio, Echo Real Mix.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I used to see, I will shock you now because I'm sure you thought nobody would notice. I used to see you sleeping behind the console. I would come into the studio, I would see a lady lying down at the back of the console. I used to wonder, what is she? Is she a sound engineer? Is she a producer? What's she always doing at the back of the console? Is she the studio cleaner? I wondered what you were doing there. I didn't know who you were. So I always ask her, I said, is she the person cleaning the studio? Is she a sound engineer? Is she a singer? And they say, no, she's a rapper. She's always here trying to work on her song, trying to learn. And I was so impressed because then I used to come with my church choir to come and record with the church choir. But every time we came there, I saw you lying down behind the console, just on the rug there, like back of the console. And then, one day I heard you rap and it was gospel rap. And I thought, wow, I didn't even know like female rappers exist, like female gospel rappers. You are the first person that I knew that did female gospel rap. And, the grind was very inspiring, having to lie down there just to make music. I thought it was inspiring, and then I didn't even know how to spell microphone, so I came as a keyboardist. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I didn't know, I didn't know I could sing jack because I just came as a keyboardist just to support my church. I mean, I just told that story just to tell you how long I've known you.
Wow. And you never told me.
No, such stories are reserved for special days like this. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
it's
go
over
ahead.
to me, right?
Yes. Your story from the beginning.
Well,
Yes.
Well, I grew up in a family of 7. My mom, my dad, and then 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
5 of us. We have 2 boys and 3 girls, and I'm the second. And growing up in Enugu State, Nigeria, you know, my mom struggled to take care of the 5 of us. That's after my dad lost his job. He's an electrical engineer. You know, how he lost his job, he was working for this man that was owing him a lot of money. So, and then my mom kept telling him, I mean, you know this job, why don't you register your own company so that you can, you know, begin to do your own thing? And he was slacking. You know, my mom kept telling him he was slacking. So one day, I don't know, the boss got to know that he's trying to make a move to register, so they fired him. Well, of course, he started his own, but things were not, you know, very okay. So my mom became the carrier of everything. Now we have to start to hawk. You know, she made bonds and we both hawked together.
Wow.
You know, so we were doing that, and I mean, I didn't want my sisters to do that, you know, because I said to my mom, it's not nice that everybody's doing this. Let them go to school first. I'll do it. You know, my brother was still very young then. My elder sister, you know, my mom was considering also having her hawk. So I said to my mom, I mean, we can all do this. Let them go to school. I'll do it. So I was doing that with my mom, hawking all the streets of Enugu. What did we know hawk? Buns, moi moi, you know, whatever she makes, we sell. You know, so literally I didn't have a childhood. You know, I became a man very early. You know, I became a man very early because now I have to learn how to sell. I have to learn how to do business. I have to follow my mom, know how to sell. And I mean, I became a businessman really early. I became a man at 10, 11. You know, 10, 11. So I was doing these things, and it was not a problem. The only challenge was that as much as I tried to sell, things didn't get better. Things got worse. You know, there are some days I'll go out to sell, and then I don't even sell one thing. And then they are hoping for me to get back, you know, to bring money, what I've sold, so that we use it to take care of other things. And now there is nothing. So that went on for several years. So at some point, my mom couldn't take it anymore. You know, the weight was so much on her. And my dad was beginning to get troublesome. You know, like when you are home and you're not doing anything, frustration kicks in. So every little thing just upsets you. So my dad became like that. Every little thing, she began to shout at everybody. So one day my mom woke up and she had meetings with some of our uncles and aunties. So that's how they dispatched us. So you go live with this uncle, you go live with this auntie, you go live, you know? And that's how we parted ways at a very young age. I mean, as I speak to you now, we're still trying to be friends because we grew up different places, different states. There's this one in Jos, this one in, you know, just different place, you know. So, and first I went to an uncle who was an Anglican priest. You know, that's the first place I lived, an Anglican priest. And then his son, he has only one son, who is a priest now in the Anglican, but the uncle is late now, his own rest in peace. So they had this only son, and he loved me so much, and he had, you know, all manner of musical instruments. Yeah, they bought him a small toy piano. He had flutes. That was the first place I saw the piano. He had flutes, you know, mouth organ, and so he has interest, this love for music, but he didn't know how to sing. He had love for music, but he didn't know how to sing. So he would bring the piano, we'll just be trying. So at some point, my mom wanted me to come back home. And the day my mom came to take me, so I held onto his piano, that piano, just a wooden piano, and we started fighting. I wanted to take it home, then he wanted to keep it. So in dragging it, I think the mom just came and told him, just leave it for him, I'll buy you another one. And that was how I got my first piano, you know, and, you know, that was what I used, you know, to learn. But being in that place, you know, I went through a lot of training living with the Anglican priest because he had a very large farm, you know, as he's the, you know, residing priest for that particular parish in Enugu. And he wouldn't trust any other person to work in his farmland but me. And now this farmland is so big that even 10 people, if 10 people should work there in a day, they will all be tired before an hour. But he wouldn't trust any other person. So I was the only one he could trust to work in his farm. So I'll take out the weeds if there's some harvesting to do. And guess how old I was?
How old?
13.
Wow.
Yeah, I had just turned 13, at that time. So I was doing all this stuff. So one day I felt like this was just way, way, way too much for me. So I told myself, oh, can we get another person to support me in this farm? It was that day he told me the truth. He said he would not trust any other person to enter his farm. That he knows I see it as punishment, that it's not punishment, but he trusts me. He wouldn't trust any other person to go there. So, well, I took up the challenge. I was doing it, but I didn't know. I thought it was, I was suffering, but I didn't know it was all training.
Training.
It was all training. Even I remember one time, I don't know if you know this musician, he's late now, the legendary Patti Obasi.
Mm-hmm.
You know him? One day, my cousin, the guy, my uncle's son, told his parents he wanted to do music, that he wanted Patti Obasi to mentor him.
Mm.
So one day, himself, myself, began to trek to the man's village with leg. No appointment. Wow. No appointment. He didn't give us no appointment. We just started trekking. So we got there only for them to tell us that he went for an event that he had been at. They said he went for an event somewhere in some village. So we had to wait for him. We waited. Patti Obasi came back and told my cousin, what do you want to say? My cousin said he wants to be a musician. And they were talking, the man was talking to him. And I was just there looking at them, I didn't know what they were talking. I didn't understand. But after I know that the man prayed for him and asked us to go, I think he charged us money for his training. And we didn't have that money. I think about, I can't remember how much it was, but we didn't have that money. So we left. And then having worked several hours, when we got home, my cousin was crying because the parents has refused to give him the money Pastor Obasi requested. So I was telling him, say, don't worry, you'll be a musician. I didn't know I was talking about it because at the end of the day, he was not a musician. I am. Now he's an Anglican, he's an Anglican priest. But that whole process, the love for music and everything, I picked from him. Wow. My first piano, I got from there. That's what I used to learn, that's the music part and everything. So back to the suffering part, Wow. So I lived with that uncle and then I was transferred to, I landed in Lagos. That's how I landed in Lagos in 2001 or thereabouts. Yeah, 2001. And, my uncle told my mom, don't worry, I'll take care of him. Everything will be fine and all and all. So I came. Well, the story was not what, my mom was told, we'll take care of him and everything. It's actually something that most time I don't like to talk about it because I get very emotional. And I also now understand that whatever I went through then was training. Yeah, whatever I went through there was training. It wasn't good at all, but now I knew that I can tell you of a truth that if I didn't go through some of those things, I will not be who I am today. I will not be able to do and handle the things I handle today if I didn't go through it. So I see it now as a blessing, but of course I thought it was suffering because I was only a child. I didn't know what was going on. When you have to dress the children for school, sweep the entire compound, do all that you need to do. I could remember then I wanted to write jam. After I have done everything, I asked for money for jam form. And he said to me, am I your parent?
Wow.
So I was thinking, but you told them you're going to support me. You told them. And at this time, I'm telling you, there was no phone for me to even call my mom or anybody to say, you know what, this is, what I'm going to through in Lagos. This is what's happening. There was no phone, so I couldn't really talk to anybody. So when my My mom will call through a payphone. How is he doing? They'll tell him he's doing great. He's doing fine. You know, meanwhile, nothing was fine. So that happened until I left the place. You know, one night something happened. I think I went to watch football in a neighbor's house, and I came upstairs. Oh, where did you go? I went to watch football. You know, it led to a punishment that I got. I was kneeling down from maybe like 8 p.m. to about 1. And at this time, everybody had gone to sleep. So that was the night. I said, this suffering is too much. And I don't have a phone to reach my parents to tell them, look, what's going on? Look, what's happening to me. I couldn't talk to anybody, but I knew I couldn't take it anymore. So, you know, like when God decides to help you by himself. So that night, it's like I heard a voice. It says, just go. I said, go where? This is almost 2 a.m. in the morning. Where do I know that I was going to? But you know, somehow I was too sure of what I was hearing, and I received the courage. You know what? I got up, put on my shoes, and I left. And that day, somewhere in Agege, I had to sleep in this uncompleted building where you have one woman frying a car, and you had all these area boys. So I met some area boys there. Who you be? Who you be? Who you be? So I told them what had happened to me. They had this piece of carton they used to sleep. They cut a little for me, and they bought akara. I ate, you know. So they were they were just nice to me and everything. So they bought akara. I ate. So in the morning they went out. They went about their daily hustle. So when they left, I wasn't doing anything there. So I went out, just walking around, and then they came back. Then I came back again there later, maybe at like 9 p.m. And they were like, where did you go? We have been looking for you. I mean, area boys. They said, where did you go? We have been looking for you. Have you eaten? I said, no. They bought akara. They gave me. I still ate. You know, so it was while I was there. I remember because when I came to Lagos, I usually go to wherever they're having concerts. Once I hear they're having a concert here, trust me, I'll be the first to go there to either watch, you know, just see. And so I remember that in one of the concerts that I went to, I met this guy who plays the drums, and I spoke to him after the concert. And then, you know, they lived very close to the concert venue, so he took me to his house that day. So I now remember this guy took me to his house. I think I should go there. So the next day, I went there, and his name is Brother Victor. He's a Kingsley K's brother. He's a Kingsley K's, you know, he plays the drums. So then he's a drummer with Christ Embassy. So I got to his house. So I told him what had happened to me. I said, please, can I at least stay with you for maybe like a week or two until I'm able to reach my parents? Because I don't have a phone. I don't have means to reach them to let them know, look, what I'm going through. So he said it was okay. You know, he spoke to his mom. They said it was okay for me to stay a few weeks. So I told him I'm going to stay like a few weeks, 1 week or two. Before you know it, I've stayed 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So we kind of sort of became family. You know, we became family, and I started going to church. You know, he said he was the one who took me to Christ Embassy. You know, so one day I was just in the house, and then he told me, he said, they are auditioning musicians for Christ Embassy. Pastor Chris wants, you know, like a presidential band, people who would travel with him to play for events, ministry program like Night of Blaze and everything. So I now asked him, I said, I play the keyboard. Can I come? He said, no, you're too small. You know, they are one big people. He said they have already, you know, selected people that they will audition. That he's just coming to hear them. They are not looking for people. I was so pained, and then he said I was too small. So he went for the audition. I stayed at home. So where I was staying, that voice came again. I said, just go to church. I said, we'll go to church. Where I went. They've already told me that they are not looking for anybody. So what am I even going? Who would I tell them I am? Who would I tell them I'm there for? Nobody invited me. I can't just show up. You know, and when that thing happens, it comes like with a strong force. It's almost moving. So I just got up. I didn't even have. I came to his house with one T-shirt and a jean, and that's all I had. So I took his own shirt. I took his shirt, and he's bigger than me. I folded, you know, like I folded it and wore his shoe. I took tissue paper, stuffed the shoe so that my legs are not wobbling inside. And I just showed up at the audition venue in church. When he saw me, in fact, by the time I got there, they had finished. You know, they were just standing around there having discussions. So when he saw me, he was like, "What are you doing here? Why are you wearing my shirt?" I said, "Cool down, I go wash them, I go wash them." You know? So my love for keyboard, so I saw that the keyboard was set up. They were having discussions, they had finished. So I saw a keyboard that was set up. I just said, let me just, I mean, I've only seen small keyboard, but now I'm seeing a big one. I said, let me play. So I just went there. I was just playing, you know, so I reduced the volume. I was just playing fiddling with the keyboard. And then the music director turned. I didn't know that that day, the keyboardist they wanted to audition did not show up. He didn't show up. They tried every avenue to reach him. They couldn't reach him, so they ended that audition with how they didn't audition a keyboardist. They auditioned the drummer, they auditioned the bass player, they auditioned everybody but a keyboardist. So I was there, I was just playing music and saying, "Who's that?" And nobody knew me. It was only my friend Victor that knew me. Victor now had to say, "Oh, he's my brother. He's my brother." And then the pastor said, "I thought you people said that there's no keyboardist. Who is this guy? I love him. So can you increase the volume?" So by that, my hand started to shake. You know, I was nervous. Before then, I had only seen Pastor Chris on TV. You know, I only seen him on TV. So when I heard, you know, the music director say, "Play on," my hand started to shake. I was nervous. They say, "You know what? It's fine. I mean, this is the guy I want. Where do you live? Where do you know?" They started to ask my friend question, and they asked me to come the next day, you know, to see the music director. I came, I went to her office, and then she said to me, "That's like a few days to one Night of Bliss program in Lagos." So, and she said to me, "Pastor Chris wants to know if you can play for a program like Night of Bliss." My spirit said yes before my mouth said it. He said, you know, the way I shouted the yes, you know. And I was shouting yes to what I don't know because, number one, I'd never rehearsed with them. Number two, I've never seen a keyboard that big. I was used to my toy, but I mean, I could play a few things. So I was so excited, you know. They got me new clothes. They got me suit. They couldn't find my size, so the suit was coat. It was. They cleaned me up, you know, got me a tie, you know, and everything. They gave me money to buy shoes and go. So I got ready for the event. So the day of Night of Bliss, I didn't even know that the keyboard that I played in church was even for rehearsal. What they use for Night of Bliss is bigger than the one I played in church. So I just showed up. I asked them where is the keyboard. So they took me to where the keyboard is in a box. Is this a coffin or a keyboard? I don't understand. Why is it this big?
Is this the stage?
Why is this big? Can't we play it if it's small? So I was nervous. I have never seen a keyboard. I think it was 7.5 octave. What I was used to was maybe 2 octaves, 3. It was like 7.5. It was a Coswell. It was massive. I've never seen anything that big. So I was a bit nervous. But I noticed something when the service started and Pastor Chris came out. You know, the keyboard was on stage and he came out and he was singing. So at some point during the program, he came to where I was. He was still singing. Then he put his hand on my shoulder. Oh boy. Oh boy. You know, that moment, that was the turning point for me. I think that was the turning point for me because when he put his hand on my shoulder, you know, like these chills when they pour cold water on you. It's like they're not, I don't know how to, it's something that I could not explain, but I knew that was the turning point for me. So immediately he put his hand on my shoulder. I felt that thing was like a surge. All of a sudden, confidence came from nowhere. I have never played a 5 octave before. I've never played anything bigger, but this is 7.5. All of a sudden, confidence came from nowhere. He stood there for almost 10 minutes singing with his hand on my shoulder. And you know, of course, you know, wherever he goes, that's where the master camera is. So they put me and him on a big screen. It was it was a massive screen, and you know, the crowd of that.
How old were you by this time?
Sorry?
How old were you by this time?
I think this time, I think I was already like 19.
Okay.
You know, I was already 19, 18, thereabout. So I was facing this millions of people, and then, you know, I was on the screen. So immediately the service was over. People were coming to meet me. Oh, let me tap anointing. Pastor Chris touched you. You know, I was just, you know, so it was like a turning point for me, because from that day, the confidence remained. The confidence remained. You know, I had to play for other ministry programs bigger, and then they made a passport for me. And then my first visit outside the country was South Africa, because Pastor had an event in South Africa. And I say, me, the first day we are supposed to, my first, you know, the first day, my first trip to South Africa, they told us we are flying on Tuesday. I didn't know that. I mean, flight was like maybe like 10 p.m. My sister, I came there at 7 a.m. in the morning. I went to church. I packed my box. I don't want to hear a story, you know. I don't want to hear a story that, you know. So I packed my box, packed everything. I came to church by 7 a.m. But when I came to church, I discovered that nobody was in a hurry. Everybody was walking slowly. Like, hope you people have not canceled this travel, or nobody should tell me that story. You know, I discovered that everybody was chilled, relaxed, you know, taking their time. So I was like, we are traveling today. Why is everybody slow? Why are they not, you know? You know, I was wondering, why is everybody not in a hurry? So I now asked the person, said, why are you here? The flight is 10 p.m. Why are you here? Why are you doing here 7 a.m.? Don't you have things to do? I said, don't worry, I'll wait. Is it not how many hours?
Wait, I don't can't leave me, go.
I didn't want to hear a story that much. I said, is it not 7 a.m., 10 p.m.? What's the difference? I'll wait. Wait, the cute person. Don't worry, I'll wait. You know, so, and then when they saw my box, they asked, why don't you have another box? Why would you? Because the box I used there was a time, you know, my uncle bought this radio that came in a leather box. So it was the box of that radio. And I have had it, yes, I've had it for a very long time. That's the box I used to pack my things. So when they saw it, they were like, do you know where you're going to? Do you think you're going to Enugu? What is wrong with you?
Wow.
But I mean, that was what I had, and I was too excited. You know, we went to SA, we came back, and then we had made, you know, some other trips. So then I became a church staff, a part-time church staff, and then they had to create another department for me, which is just to make soundtracks for TV programs. So what happens is that I do post-production on all the videos just to fix the sound and make soundtrack for then LTM. So that was my job, and then play for services. So I was doing that, and then they even trained me on how to music production. They trained me on how to do music production. And then I started to work with Sinach. You know, Sinach is the lead worshiper in Christ and this again. And then she wrote one song every day. Sometimes in a day she would write like 3 songs. And then when she writes it, Frank, I have a new song. Let's work on it. I would just carry, I had a tritone. So this time I had learned how to do a lot of things, produce music, you know, sequence on the keyboard. So I was helping her to make those soundtracks, you know, and she was writing songs and I was learning, even though some of the sessions were arguments a lot, because she would insist. She you know, Sinach knows her music. So when she's telling you to do this, the music is already playing in her head. She already has music playing in her head. So she's telling you to play what she's hearing. She's not asking you for suggestions. So she's telling me, you know, this is what I'm hearing. And I mean, I was not like an excellent keyboardist. So some of the things she was telling me to do was impossible.
Technical.
So yeah, when she tells me to do something very technical, I'll tell her, no, it will not sound good in the musical. It will spoil the music. It will spoil the music. Let's leave it. You know, so I tried to discourage her so I can play something, and she will insist I'll do it. But I discovered that she was pushing me, and I was getting better every day because I would be forced to do the technical stuff, and before you know it, I can do it. You know, and then one day I discovered that once she leaves, when we finish working in the studio and she leaves, all night I'm not doing anything and I'm still in church studio. So one night I decided, you know what? So now she's not here, nobody's here. Let me even sing and record and see what my voice sounds like. Let me just try and record something and listen to it. I had pride that, you know. So I recorded this song. When I record something, I'll listen to it, then I'll delete it. So one time I recorded something, I didn't delete it. I think I left it on the recording. That was a Fire in His Eyes. I can see him from afar. That's one of the first songs that I recorded. So she came the next day, and it was on the desktop. I thought I deleted it. So she asked me, "Who is this?" I say, "It's me." "You sing?" I said, "I don't know. I was just trying my voice." And she told me, you know, she encouraged. She said, "This is good. This is amazing. You should release it. You should do more. You know, say you should do more. You should do." I was afraid. I said, "How me do more? Me that couldn't even face two people is to now carry microphone that I want to be an artist." I said, no, that's not going to happen. So I was running from it. It's not something I never, you know, it's not something I ever wanted to do. I never wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a pilot. That was the dream. I never wanted to, yeah, that was it. I wanted to be a pilot. I never wanted to be a musician. My dad never wanted me to be a musician. The only person who supported my music career was my mom, who, you know, told me, let him do what he wants to do. Let him, you know, do music. He's doing well. My dad will seize the piano, hide it, you know, just, he never wanted me to be a musician. So one day I had recorded this song, and then we had another program supposed to be 31st night service. 31st night service. I think it was in 2009. I can't remember. The video is still on YouTube. I'll check it out. And then I rehearsed with every other person who's supposed to be singing that day. I rehearsed with Sinach. I rehearsed with Eben. I rehearsed with Bouqui'S. I rehearsed with Ada. You know, those are the singers. Then, I mean, I was just a keyboardist. So I was supposed to be playing for them. So the service had started, and I was on the keyboard playing. You know, I noticed that, you know, Pastor Chris was walking towards me. Most times when he comes, he usually comes to say, change the key, or play Hallelujah, or play this song, or play that song, or play this. You know, he just comes to give information. So I thought that was what he was coming to do. And then he was walking to me, and then he bent and he said, "You're singing for us tonight." You know, like my heart left my chest and went to Enugu. I had
By flight or by bus?
You know, like, it was like, when he said it, I thought, maybe, were you talking to the people behind me? Because that's where they are sitting. That's where the singers are sitting. I'm Frank Edwards. I'm the keyboardist. You know, that's what I'm thinking in my head. I said, is it that he didn't recognize me or something? But there's enough light here. So while I was busy looking around, he said, you're singing for us tonight. He said, are you ready? You know, like, I wanted to say, ready? How am I ready when I did not rehearse? How am I ready when I didn't? In my church, let me tell you how bad it is. In my church, before you sing anything on air or before anybody, they will audition you like 10 times. Even if you're already an artist, all the singers to do praise, they still do audition as I speak to you. They will see, just because they don't want surprises. No mistakes, no surprises. My pastor, he just likes excellent things. So you will rehearse and they will record it, go and play for him. Then he can say, oh, change that camera angle, or change, why did you say that?
Wow.
Everything must be fine. So none of that happened. No rehearsal, no audition. He just walked up and said, you're singing tonight. And I'm thinking, if I want to learn how to sing, I think that a midweek service would be appropriate. Yes. Yeah. I'm thinking, where you have like fewer people, maybe, you know, so that if anything happens, I know that it's my first time and it's okay. But this one, 31st night, all the people around the world who are watching, and we have a lot of people on ground. I said to myself, wait, what if I mess up this thing? Everybody's watching, you know. And then you know what's the miraculous part of it? He said to me, because I didn't rehearse with anybody, he said, the control room, do they have your backing track? I said no, because I didn't give it to anybody. Of course, I wasn't singing. So why would I give them my backing track? I said, no, I don't know. He said, wait, he sent someone to the control room to go and find out. And the guy came back and said they have it. I'm like, I don't get it. How? What I'm telling you now, I will send you the link. The video is still on YouTube. You will see the way I was sweating. You will know that sweat is not normal. So the guy came back and said the control room had the soundtrack. I'm like, how? I didn't give them the soundtrack. I was not ready to sing. I was not. Before I know what's going on, I said, come. I came. They handed me the microphone and he stepped back and left me in the middle of a big stage. My hand was shaking. I was saying, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus. My hands were shaking. And before I could put myself together, they already wrote the soundtrack because the song he wanted me to sing is that Fire in His Eyes. He heard it and he liked it, so he wanted me to sing that. So before I know Jack Roberts, they wrote the backtrack already. So I just opened my mouth and I noticed once again this confidence just came. I began to sing, and then the confidence grew. And then by the time I looked, almost the entire church was singing along. When I saw the big screen, even Pastor himself was singing along. It's on YouTube. Just if you Google Frank Edwards and Senach Christ Embassy, you will find that video. So before I was sweating, I was wearing suit. There was enough AC. I was sweating like a goat because, but something happened. After that ministration, it was so powerful. You need to go and see it on YouTube. That was my third time. After that ministration, then it was only Facebook I used. Then there was no, Instagram and all this other stuff. By the next day, my Facebook was jammed. People are asking, who is that guy? Who are you? That's so, people from all over the world. I became a superstar the very next day because people watched it from everywhere in the world. So it was the demand from the people all around the world that they put so much demand on my music department in church that he should come up with an album. And they told me, okay, you have to make an album now. It was not something I wanted to do. It was not something I wanted to do. So they said the demand was so much, okay, just record a few more songs. Then, Ada?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ada, her husband then was the director of Love World Records. So he said, you know what, record more songs, we'll put it out there. So they encouraged me, so I recorded more songs. Recorded more songs, and they made an album for me. And it was selling everywhere. I just became big overnight. But at this time, of course, because it was not something I was ready for. It was not something I planned to do. I don't know what it means to be an artist. What I know is that. So I'll just be living my life. I'll be walking home, trekking home from church. Then you see people, they'll be driving, and once they see me, they will just pull over. Say, are you not Frank Edwards? Yes, me. Say, just listen to your music. We are jamming it. They will increase the volume. I'll listen and say, I say, you're good, you're good. They will zoom off. I will continue my music journey. I didn't care, because it was not something, but it happened, and I didn't think, anything was wrong. I didn't think, I was missing anything because my music was everywhere and I was trekking, people play my music all around the world and I was trekking, So at some point, they even said they were going to give me a car. They bought a car for me. It's a Geely. It was a Geely. So they were going to give me 1 million, which my mom said to me at some point, no, don't take it. It's your first fruits, since they are the people who made the album for you. So I didn't take that one, but I took the car. That was my first car. So a lot has happened. I feel like the church has invested so much in me. So at some point I'm like, and they were still paying me salary. So and also I said I'm going to tell Pastor, I don't want to collect salary anymore. I want to volunteer. I will do the same thing, but I don't want to be paid anymore because they have done so much for me. And they were asking, are you sure? And say, yeah, that's what God has put in my heart to do. So, but what this now means is that I have to now find how to make money by myself. Because, I was doing a lot with the allowance that I was collecting then. But that was when I started Rocktown. That was when I started Rocktown. That was in, I think, 2011. I started Rocktown. And at this time, okay, I was squatting with someone. I was squatting with a friend, in one small room and everything. So when I went on my own it was difficult to record my songs because I didn't have a studio. Because when I was in church, I used to use the church studio. But now it won't be fair to go and be using church studio to do my personal stuff. So I called my mom. I said, Mommy, I can now produce music or I can now do this, but I want to set up a studio. I don't have money to set up a studio. After you told me to leave my 1 million for them, that it was first fruit. So now it's time to set up a studio. I shake body now. She asked me, how much do I need? So I now said maybe like 700,000 to say, hey, she like, those laugh that when somebody laughs. My mom laughed and laughed and laughed and said to me, Frank, that if you turn me around and hit me on the floor, and this money will not come out. But she said she would try. What I didn't, so she went, she sold a lot of her things, wrapper and all the things she sold and all her savings put together was 150,000 naira. So she called me and she said, this is all I have. I know it's not enough for what you want to do, but she said to me, the hand of God is on this money, it will multiply. Well, that's all I have. So I took the money from her. I came back to Lagos. I went to Computer Village. I bought just a few things. I tried to build a computer, bought a MIDI controller, just small things. I couldn't afford the studio monitor, so we had one radio that has 2 stereo speakers. So that was what I used. I had this microphone that I used to put handkerchief. I used rubber band to tie. That's my pop filter because I didn't have a pop filter. So, and all these things I set up in the corner of the room where I was squatting with someone. I asked my friend, can I set? So I just set up there. No vocal booth. When I want to record my vocals, I use a thick blanket to cover myself and the microphone, just so that that was my vocal booth. But guess what? It was in that corner. When the Bible said that what you have is enough. It was in the corner. It was in the corner of that room that I recorded Mama, Lord, you reign.
That's one of my best songs.
It was not
Mama.
Yeah. It was not recorded in a professional studio. I recorded it in the corner of that room with blankets, and then a handkerchief over the microphone. Sounds like Ogene do 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 do. It was there. You today bless me. The version remix. It was in that corner. So I was there. I was just doing my music. So I didn't know that my friend, the one I was squatting with, has been going about telling people that we have a big studio in our house. He's been going about telling people that we have a big studio in our house. So that's how he told one marketer. The guy is an Alaba marketer. And the marketer came looking for me in church. See, I heard you have a big studio in your house and you have a lot of songs you want. I said, me? Hey, say who told you? And he called the name of the guy. I said, this guy will not kill me. Because I thought that the condition at which I recorded the songs, I didn't think that they were good enough for sale or for anybody. I was just having fun. I didn't think that they were good enough. So I now told the man, I said, I don't have, the songs that I have, they are demo, they are not professionally recorded because I don't have a real microphone. I don't even have good speaker to even mix. The guy just, let me just hear them. Let me hear them. He just kept, so I took him to the house. He said, play the song. I played the first one, which is a Mama, and he said, did you say you recorded this thing with this thing I'm looking at? I said, yes. He said, play another one. I played another one. So by the time I played 3 songs, he said, you know what? Don't play no more. So all the songs you have, he said to me, let me sell it for, I think he said he wanted to sell it for 2 years and he will give me 2 million. I said, where do you talk?
Wow. Wow.
You know, so it sounded like a movie. So it wasn't. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe. I'm like, what? Two what? This thing that is sounding like this, because they didn't sound good to me. I didn't think they were good enough. And he said yes, that if I agree, he can draw up a contract. He will come the next day, we'll make it in. And I said, okay, yes, I agree, but I didn't. I'm thinking like, why would somebody want to pay me 2 million just to say, what if he did not sell? How is he going to get it? You know, I was just thinking too many things. So I didn't think it was serious. On the next day, he actually came with a contract. I opened the thing. When I saw where they wrote 2 million, I didn't bother to read the contract. I just signed.
Whether they were saying, as you sign this contract, you are taking the left side of your nose. You didn't even care.
I was just signing. I was just flipping pages. I was just signing. You know. Also, but thank God, it was not a bad contract, or else I would have been in trouble. You know, as God may have it, it was not a bad contract. So I didn't read. I just signed. And now it was time for him to pay me. Say, give me your account number. Say, hey, I use Central Bank of Pocket too.
Central Bank of CBP.
CBP, Central Bank, CBP. I didn't have an account. You know, I didn't have an account. When he said, it's time to pay you, I didn't have an account. So I called my friend again. I called Victor. I said, come, please let me use your account to receive money from someone. And he said, how much? I said 2 million. He said, eh, what did you do? I beg, wait.
Wow, look at God.
You know, no, he said, no. I come first. I will come meet you. Then you will talk to me then. So he didn't want to send me. So he came. And now said, okay, this is what happened. So he now saw it was legit. So, you know, I use his account to receive the money. And then, after the man paid, he said, he has paid you. So I don't believe. Go and withdraw money first. Let me see it. If you go to the bank and withdraw money. And, I mean, we went to bank, we drew some money, and I thought, wow, this is real. You know, when I received that money, you know, like that's such that people will just pass in, you just be greeting them and be smiling. You know?
Hello.
Everybody say, like, hello, good afternoon, sir. I was just too excited because number one, I didn't think that the music was good enough. Number two, what did I use? Pangolo microphone, radio speakers, no vocal booth, blankets to cover myself. So I didn't think they were good enough. But, you know, I guess the hand of God was on it, like my mother said. So I called my mom, and at this time I did well to call him after I have received the money. You know, so I called her. I said, "Mommy, look at what had happened." So I thought she was going to say, you know, Aya, give me my money back because I took 150K from her. Now I have 2 million. And he said, "Oh, we thank God, though. We thank God." Said, "Have you paid your tithe?" I said, "No, I haven't paid my tithe." "Your seed?" I said, "No." And he said, "When you do all that, you can take the rest of the money to now set up the studio you want to do before." You know, I said, "This woman?" So, well, I did as she wanted. I paid my tithe, I sold my seed, you know. But I sent her money regardless because I knew she wouldn't ask. So I sent her money regardless. And then when she received that money, she now prayed for me. She said, "This money will grow and never finish." When she received that, she said to me, "This money will grow and never finish." And, you know, I set up another studio. But by the time I bought all the equipment I wanted to buy, it took up the whole space in my friend's room. We didn't have a place. So I now said to you know what, at this point I have to move on. I have to get a place. You know, I mean, I have to get a place because this now inconveniences me. So I got another space, which was just a room and then a restroom. Finished. So I set up there again. That was my studio was my living room, my everything, my dressing room. You know, but I was there still making my music, and it began to grow. I mean, and here we are today. You know,
the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. You know,
Wow.
I'm grateful to God. You know, sometimes when people see you, they just try to imagine maybe you fell from the sky. Maybe you took a loan from the. No, I did not take any loan from anybody. Nobody gave me money. No, but I'm telling you, I'm on air. I'm telling you, nobody gave me penny. Apart from that 150,000 my mom gave me, nobody gave me money. I didn't take money loan from anybody. Apart from that 150,000, that my mom gave me and said, "Go, this money." That's what multiplied.
Wow.
That's what multiplied. So I just really want to encourage everyone out there to know that at whatever point you are, God is with you. Even at that lowest level, God is with you. He's building you. He's getting you ready for something big. All the people who are out there, they started very rough. If you actually take time to hear their story, you will notice that they had a rough beginning. For example, if I didn't see you, Bouquie, when you used to sleep at the back of console, and if I see you now, I would just be thinking in my head, oh, maybe her parents was rich, maybe she's from do you understand? That's what I'm thinking in my head. But because I know your story, I know you. I wish I had a picture, God.
It's funny because you never told me.
Yeah, I never told you because stories like that are reserved for special days like this. But it was an encouragement. Your story, that what you did then was an encouragement. You'll be sleeping at the back of the console and you have this book. I think it was a rabbit, whether you fold it and I saw everything. I'm sure you're surprised. But
I am, because I came for your first. Remember, I came for your first album launch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even then, I didn't tell you.
You didn't tell me. Wow. Listen, man, Frank. People see people. Let me tell you what this show is about. People see the fruits, and they know nothing about the seeds. They know nothing about the process, and they want the fruits. But they don't know that it's a process, it's due process, and you have to pay that price. Greatness costs what it costs, and it never goes on sale. Yeah. Your story is so encouraging because I was here shedding tears thinking, oh my God, my mascara is running. But thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Listen, man, can I get 2,000? We love you, Frank. Frank, we love you so much. Thank God for your life, because you see, when you were sleeping in that uncompleted building, a lot of people slept in there and they joined the area boys and they started to steal. Yeah. But choices, your choice is the difference between whether you make it or you don't. I can't believe this story. Have you ever said this story anywhere else?
My story is such that it's a lot that every time I get to talk to people, I have 1 hour or 10 minutes, which is not enough. So I share my story in phases.
Segments.
So, yeah, in segments. So when I get to it, I'll share a particular segment, but I'll just share those ones. It is unbelievable, where God picked me from. If I start from beginning, you will cry.
I cried already.
I was only a child when the bank came. I didn't know my dad borrowed 8,500 naira from the bank. I don't know what he did with it. Now he couldn't pay. They came to our house, packed everything, like they left nothing. And we were only a child. When we asked my dad, myself and my sister, where are they taking this into? He said they are taking them to go and clean it and return it. We didn't even know they were bank because we were young then. So my dad told us that they want to go and clean it and return it, that they will bring it back. When we waited, 1 week, they are still cleaning it. 2 weeks, they are still cleaning it. And this time, we are sleeping on barefoot. They ripped the just small room chair. We didn't even have TV. That's the reason why he couldn't do any more job, because he has tools. They packed everything. All his tools, everything, they cleared. Even things that belonging to my mom, they took.
Wow.
Yeah, every day cleared the room. So I was only a child. So by the time I got to know that these things are not coming back, it was only like a year. So my mom now told us that my dad was owing those people who came to carry. I cried so much, but I said to myself, one day, all these things, I'd replace them, and I'd replace them big time. I couldn't do anything as a child but cry, but at least I have my mind. I could make a decision. I could make a decision. So I said to myself, one day, all these things they took, I'd replace them and I've replaced them big time? Or is it the day that my dad couldn't pay rent, that the landlord came and was throwing everything? You know, all the stories were in my head, you know, but well, thank God the story is not the same thing today. Glory be to God. You know, we don't look like what we have been
Where
through.
we're
If I
coming
don't
from,
tell
yeah.
you, I've farmed before, you will not know. If I don't tell you, you know, I've hawked before, you know, there's nothing that I have not done. That's why I said I didn't have a childhood. No toy gun, no toy car. I became a man from 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo!
But I mean,
We have 28 seconds left. I can't believe this. Frank,
glory to God.
listen, the sky is a springboard. Is a springboard for you. You will go higher and higher. Thank you
Amen.
so much for honoring us. Thank you for coming to Bouqui'S place. Listen, man, we love you.